Hello, 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 everybody. Let me get my volume up. This is Louise Edington, the Cosmic Owl of Cosmic Owl Astrology. And I am going to talk to you today about the Sagittarius New Moon on December the 1st, 2024 at 9 degrees Sagittarius. Now, let me just move my calendar on. I know it's blurred because of Zoom's new settings, but let me show you the pictures anyway. So you can just see them. This is actually a Native American goddess. I'm not sure which one. Anyway, you can see the amazing kind of moon around them. And honestly, December is going to be quite the month. So before we dive in to the astrology and the transits and the numerology and the symbols and a card, I will ask you to subscribe, leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. I'm going to keep this pretty purely to just the new moon. For the more political ones, I will be doing other videos, and I am recording more with Kathy Beale and Andy Brewer. But before I dive in, I do want to say that I still see positive change coming in the direction of truth, justice, and freedom. And I know that doesn't fit everybody's perspective, but that's what I see coming. So overall, and the new moon at 9 degrees Sagittarius is only 3 degrees from the ascendant of the Sibley chart for the USA, which is the most commonly used chart for the country of the United States as it is now. So I just wanted to kind of get that out the way, as well as the fact that the South Node is approaching the midheaven, almost public visibility part of the chart, and Chiron will be stationing direct pretty soon. I can't remember exactly when, but also the USA is heading up to finish its Chiron return. I'll probably do a whole thing about that as well. But I'm not going to go into all those details now, but I do want to say that, all of this is impacting the USA's chart. I didn't look at the candidates for the new moon yet. Again, I'll probably do different videos for that. Okay, so I mentioned already that this new moon is at 9 degrees Sagittarius. We tend to have a series of new and full moons at the same degree for a little while, and then they start shifting degrees. We did have a 9 degree Scorpio new moon, and now we have a 9 degree Sagittarius new moon. And once again, I will say 9 is endings and beginnings. So the numbers generally go from 1 to 9 for endings and beginnings. And then 0, of course, is Alpha Omega. But 9 is the number of universal love, eternity, faith, the universal spiritual laws, concept of karma, spiritual enlightenment, and spiritual awakening, service to humanity, humanitarianism. 9 also resonates with learning to say no, creative abilities, sensitivity, freedom. You get the idea. The 9 is quite a powerful number. The 9 is connected with all the planets, but is in some ways related to the south node of the moon and the Hermit Tarot card. But that's just a couple of things from my favorite numerology page site, numerology the numbers and their meanings .blogspot.com. And there's always a link to that in the description. So, the 9, something's kind of coming to a fulfillment. And in the sign of Sagittarius, that is the sign of wonderment and wondering and truth seeking and truth speaking and higher learning and natural law and all those kind of things. Sagittarius are naturally philosophers. And I've got Sagittarius in spades in my chart, having Sun, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and rising all in Sagittarius and some asteroids. and so I love this season, because this is when we explore, seek truth, explore higher knowledge, and start really exploring the natural laws of the world and philosophizing about what's true, what's not true, all those kind of things. So I always love the Sagittarius New Moon. But let's look at the astrology of this one first of all, before we go any further and before I actually talk about it. Oh, bear with me a minute. I just want to bring that page to the front, and there it is. So here is the PDF with the Sagittarius New Moon with some things marked on it. So here's the new moon, 9 degrees, 32 minutes of Sagittarius. I'm recording this on November the 14th, just before the full moon preceding it, the 24 degrees Taurus full moon. You can see by the time of the new moon, Mercury is retrograde. Gemini, Jupiter is still retrograde in Mercury's sign, Gemini. Saturn is now direct and has moved forward by 13 minutes, still at the same degree. Nessus, Centaur Nessus, is now direct as well, and actually stationed direct the day before, so on November the 30th, so is at a standstill. Neptune is about station direct, lots more tide turning, all of this in Pisces. I've talked about that a lot. Neptune will station direct on December the 6th. Pluto is in Aquarius by now and is in Aquarius for the next 24 years. That's it, done. And I've mentioned before that the previous 2 times that Pluto entered Aquarius before it retrograded back into Capricorn, in March 2023, was when Trump was ordered to turn over documents, and then was raided and charged with 30 counts over that issue. Then the second time that Pluto entered Aquarius, I can't remember the month, but anyway, was when he was ordered to pay 86 million to E. Jean Carroll. So Pluto's shift into Aquarius has not been kind to him previously. So by the time of this new moon, we might have some idea of where it's going for him, because I'm recording this on November the 14th. Pluto enters Aquarius on November the 19th, and things tended to happen in the few days after the ingress into Aquarius. So you can see that we'll probably know by the new moon if something new, some new truth is going to emerge around that area. Also, Ceres is at 27 degrees Capricorn, which was the degree that Pluto last stationed direct at in Capricorn, and Venus is at 23 degrees Capricorn, and those two are both heading to join Pluto at that 0 Aquarius degree. So, you know, we've got a lot going on here. But here's the new moon, 9 degrees, 32 minutes. The main aspect it's making really, I'm going to say we have this fire grand trine to the North Node, because the moon and the sun are moving towards it, and the North Node is moving towards that. Mars is about to station retrograde, so we have a fire grand trine. And if you think about the energy of fire, it's really the energy of wild creation, but burning down as well, and kind of that phoenix energy. And so this is a powerfully fiery new moon. The new moon also is at the midpoint, almost exactly, of a sextile between asteroid Juno in Scorpio and Centaur Pholus in Capricorn. So I'll probably talk a little bit about that too. All right, so I'm going to stop the share and just talk for a minute. So I think that, well, there are actually 2 grand trines in this new moon. So I've mentioned that we have a loose grand trine to Mars in Leo, that is about to station retrograde in Leo, and to the North Aries North Node, which is Mars guided over there in Aries. And then we have Sagittarius. So we've got all this fire saying it's time to really kind of step into that fire and create, but also come from this place of some things need to be literally burned off, first of all, like where we've been overly bombastic, shall we say. We'll see in the symbols, there's kind of that hint about that. Sagittarius at times can be overly forceful, right? But the higher energy of Sagittarius is opportunity and optimism and moving forward. But Sagittarius just kind of sees the future, and sometimes it can be so bombastic, perhaps not the word, but really forceful. You know, it's Sagittarius can like to think it's right and to force the energy of that onto other people. Some other words for Sagittarius are adventurous, blunt, it's often very blunt to a key. Can be, it's aspirational, but it's about beliefs, can be overly boisterous, can be broad-minded generally, buoyant, can be a little careless, but is so enthusiastic. You know, those of you who watch me know that I'm always like, it's all going to be okay. Well, I really do think it is going to be okay, but you know, you get the idea. Is very frank, is future oriented and freedom seeking. Can overgeneralize Sagittarius because it sees the bigger picture. It's kind of not keen on the details, but I've got something to say about that. It's idealistic, very honest, usually honest to you know, a fault, and likes to travel, can be tactless, foot in mouth syndrome, all that kind of thing. But you know what Sagittarius usually is not. I mean, it can be moralistic, and but it's usually jovial and very good-natured and philosophical, a bit of a practical joker, a bit of snark, outspoken, can be a bit preachy and pretentious, but it's usually Sagittarius energy comes from a place of goodwill and you know, really does mean well generally. So that's kind of got the energy of this new moon into your head. Well, Jupiter is the guide for the Sagittarius new moon, and Jupiter is in the opposite sign and is retrograde, and Jupiter is going to go back to 11 degrees Sagittarius, which will oppose where this new moon was. And Jupiter in Gemini is asking, you know, that bombastic, overly preachy kind of Sagittarius energy to slow it down, tame it, and really kind of look at the details, which Sagittarius doesn't always do, as I mentioned, and say, you know, look at those details, sift the information, which is Gemini, and really kind of go into this psychic surgery kind of role of finding out what's true. Now then, that brings me to the other grand trine that we've got. So we had the fire grand trine of creation, but also burning down. Jupiter is in an air grand trine with Vesta, which is focus, commitment, the inner flame, in Libra, which is balance, harmony, courts of scales of justice, diplomacy, coming together, and also Chariklo in Aquarius, Chiron's wife, holding space for us to write a new story. So combined with the fire and air, this is very lively, very movable, very flowy, very creative, but it's also shifting a lot of information, shifting a lot of ideas, shifting a lot of communications. Now, talking about the world situation, somebody mentioned the Sagittarius Gemini axis, and they're right that some of this, if we're thinking about what's happening in the world, will involve finding out truth about other nations and other alliances and what people have really been up to. So just know that that's happening for all of you, whether you're coming from Chinese perspective, Russian perspective, Israeli perspective, Palestinian perspective. We'll all be kind of looking at other countries' roles in things, and with the Libra energy of it with Vesta there, we'll be kind of focused and committed to kind of trying to get that balance point and perhaps coming to more compromises and more diplomatic solutions, hopefully. So it's quite a nice new moon. Now, I did mention that the new moon is almost exactly at the midpoint of a sextile between Juno, which is the Juno is supporting women and children's rights, and it's in Scorpio, which is power and powerlessness and disempowerment, power games and manipulation, but it's also a hugely fertile area. And there's Pholus over there, which is cause and effect of our institutions. And so with Sagittarius also being connected with courts, higher courts, judges and things, I think some influence about what's being done to women's rights, children's rights, outsiders' rights is going to come to the fore as well. And change is going to start coming with this new moon because it's mutable. It's bringing change. It's bringing movement. It's bringing movement towards a future vision. And because it's making nice aspects, I really do see it kind of going in a nice direction. Now, I should mention Ceres being at the 27-degree Capricorn mark, where Pluto last stationed direct. Now, that's been a hot degree for a little while. And here's Ceres kind of doubling down on it, going, okay, what was revealed, what was dug up, what shadow has come up to the fore to be eliminated in Pluto's last journey through the sign of Capricorn. And now here's Ceres, probably feeling some grief and some loss around what we've done to the earth, to each other, what we do to each other, and how our needs are not being met. But here she is saying, we're going to change that. All right. So, we are going to fight to create structures and institutions that meet our needs. And incidentally, Ceres being at 2 + 7, that's another 9, another ending, another, stepping into all those things about I said about number 9, that is the energy really of ideals and really kind of reaching for your ideals, trusting, generous, all that kind of thing, really kind of saying, we need more love. We really need to love each other. And, there's so much going on into this, but this is all about feeling philanthropic, feeling leading by positive example, wanting to do good for the sake of humanity as a whole, or the earth as well. This is seeing a higher perspective. So again, I see this as a hugely positive new moon within the context of all the change that's coming. This is bringing good change. Now, we can't look at a new moon without looking at what kind of moves after it, and of course, just looking ahead. I've already mentioned that Neptune stations direct, Mars stations retrograde. We've got all these shifting sands, and a lot of it is impacting the US chart. But again, we'll look at that later because it's also such a complex matter. Now, also the new moon at 9 degrees Sagittarius is close to the degree that Mercury will station direct at. later in the year. So Mercury, to remind you, I've done a whole video on that. Mercury stations direct on December the 15th at 6 degrees Sagittarius, very close to the new moon. So things that are brought to light in the dark of the new moon that emerge from December the 1st will probably start coming to light around the full moon that's after this full moon, the Gemini full moon. Of course, I'll do a whole other video on that. And in fact, just though, let me tell you, the full moon is at 23 degrees Sagittarius Gemini, which is activating the degree that Mercury station retrograde at. You cannot make this up. We do have an awful lot of shifting perspectives, taking in other people's opinions, points of view, but also revealing what people have been saying and doing that we didn't see before. All of this energy really is coming to the fore in so many ways over this next while, this whole lunation cycle, really. So, watch this space. We've got more change coming, more truths coming out, more perspectives, changes, perhaps vote regret, things like that, changes in alliances, but also there could be literal court cases coming to light, also recounts, things like that with all of this energy. So some people are already going, why aren't we recounting already? Why aren't we recounting already? And as I record this on November the 14th, all the votes have not been counted. There will be no recounts until all the votes are counted, right? So patience, grasshopper. We are 2 weeks, as I record this, away from this new moon. Things are really going to start moving after that point. All right. Okay, so I am going to show you, first of all, the card that I pulled for the new moon, and then I'm going to read you the symbols. But before I do, don't forget to subscribe, leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, all those things. And I've pulled this card a couple of times, but this is the Mercury card. This is the Magus, magic, juggling. This is so of this energy, but look at it. Look at how beautiful the Magus is. This is about creating magic, right? And I'm going to, as usual, get my favorite book on the Thoth Tarot, the Tarot Handbook by Angeles Arian, and read to you some of what she said. And then, yeah, maybe we'll see. I was like, where's my book gone? So busy at the moment, and obviously we lost our dog, but we've also had one of our cats got sick, but he's okay. Anyway, I'm going to read you the quote first of all with this card, because Mercury is communication, and this is the principle of communication and timing. And the quote with it is, language shapes consciousness, and the use of language to shape consciousness is an important branch of magic. And that's from Starhawk, Dreaming in the Dark. The magician represents the universal principle of communication. The golden figure of Mercury, the winged messenger from Greek mythology, represents communication that is inspired, resilient, and well-timed. This symbol represents the capacity to communicate equally well in oral and written communication. The magician is surrounded by 10 tools, each of which is the magician's way of picking the appropriate tool or tools for communication. The coin represents the ability to communicate in a way that can assist finances and practical endeavors. I'm going to hold that up so you can see it. Okay, 2, the floating cherub, the lighted lantern represents communication, which, like Aladdin's lamp, inspires or evokes the genius in us. The ibis or phoenix wand in the magician's hand is a symbol of being able to communicate from a philosophical, religious, or spiritual base. The arrow moving towards the winged eye of Horus represents direct and honest communication, which is well timed. 5, the winged eye of Horus with the dove within it is a symbol of inspired vision, which is articulated. 6, the floating scroll or book is the power of communication that is written. And 7, the winged egg, reminds us that all communication is prompted from our essence and is constantly being reformed and delivered. 8, the cup with the coiled serpent represents the transformative power to communicate the range of one's feelings. 9, the sword symbolizes the ability to articulate ideas and thoughts clearly and succinctly. And 10, the golden monkey represents the Egyptian god of wisdom, Thoth himself, who transforms himself into a golden monkey to demonstrate that in communication we must be flexible and aware of all communication lines that we have executed personally and professionally. Lastly, the double serpents rising from the head, can you see? Are another rendition of Mercury's staff of communication, which depicts the power of communication that is balanced, healing, and transformative. So this bodes really well for both learning and communication, and for, I'm just getting my other book, and for really kind of listening as well, and being open-minded to learning new perspectives. In my own book, The Magician, a lot simpler, says this is magic, creation, juggling, skill, resources, and intention, and new beginnings. So a lovely new moon. Now I'm going to move on and read the symbols, and then we'll kind of move on. And I've got more videos to do, so I don't want to go on too much. So the Sabian symbol for this, we always go up for Sagittarius 10, is where is it? Oh, there it is. A theatrical representation of a golden-haired goddess of opportunity. Dane Rudyard's keynote is society's efforts at dramatizing the greatness of what it offers to the ambitious person. Rudyard said, civilization as a process demands the goading of individuals to spend their vital energies in the pursuit of achievements, which, while fulfilling the individual's ambition and greed, nevertheless generate various forms of what we call progress. This sequence of symbols mainly refers to the drive for advancement along human paths of growth. He says the result is often a process, though, of forced growth. Now, I will say that this new moon is widely square to Saturn in Pisces, which has just stationed direct and still will not be moving very fast on the new moon. This is saying don't force the growth. Slowly does it. Okay. All right, so the Chandra symbols all the symbols by John Sandbach. The Omega symbol first is a human being followed by a spaceship, which is interacting and inspired. He said the degree angel is Lehahia, which is forget thyself and obedience. He says this degree is constantly being invited to embark on journeys and adventures. If it refuses these offers, they will not go away, but will continue to pursue the person wherever they go. The way out of this stress is to give in to the adventure, for it is actually the heart that is calling and the true self that wants to be found. The Chandra symbol for this degree is a star turning many different colors. You tend to find one thing that you become fascinated by, and then as you behold it steadily, you see many different nuances and facets within it. It becomes to you a symbol of the whole world. You feel that as you look at it, it looks at you, and that you are being pursued by it, just as the human in the Omega symbol is being followed by the spaceship. This fixity and obsessiveness is your natural way of being. And if you give yourself over to it and set the intention that you wish to learn anything and everything from this experience that will benefit you, it will give you more and more. The challenge here is to take it all in gradually as it comes over time and not be afraid to move in closer to this source of light, for it is the universe's gift to you as well as your gift to yourself. Now, his rewriting of that Sabian symbol is the Pleiadian symbol. He said, in a woman's blonde hair flowing in the wind, a man sees all sorts of pictures. So I'll let you think of that as you will. And the Azov symbol, which really is the root, is God worshipped in the form of a smooth, featureless stone. Again, I'll let you kind of take that as a will. But overall, this is about pursuing your dreams. This is about taking in all this information and then going after what you want and trusting the process, but, not forcing the change, kind of taking in all the information, all that you learn, all the truth that comes to light, and moving forward through it with great zeal and optimism, and really try and enjoy this new moon. I do know that the world seems in a mess, but we are heading in the right direction. I know I keep promising you that, and then things happen. Well, we're still in this kind of birth canal where, the election was at the end of Pluto in Capricorn, right? So a lot more, maybe we had to see more shadow before we can move forward, but truth is going to come to light. All right. Much love. Mwah. I will see you next time.